Hi, welcome to your video on properties of numbers. Your I can statement is I can identify properties of addition and multiplication. Make sure you are taking Cornell notes with your title and your I can statement written down. What is the commutative property is the first question, which you should be writing on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side goes the definition, which is a little bit lengthy, but what it is changing the order of the numbers. Okay, your adding or multiplying does not change the sum or the product. Now, the commutative property only works for adding and multiplying. It does not work for subtracting or dividing. But all you're essentially doing is changing how it looks, the order of it. And you're not changing what your answer is going to be. Think mirror. Okay, it's mirror image. The M in mirror helps you with the M in commutative. So those of you who like those connections, that would be something. Think about a mirror. Here are some examples. Make sure you get these down. 6 plus 4. Okay, when I solve that, I get an answer of 10. And 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 equals 10. It's balanced. We're not changing our answer, but notice the order is flip-flopped. It went from 6 plus 4 to 4 plus 6. So if I were to place a mirror right on that equal sign and reflect, that's what's happening. Same with multiplying. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 9 is 45. Your answer isn't changing, just how it looks, the order of the numbers. Again, you put a mirror right here on the equal sign, and you're reflecting what's on the left on the right, or vice versa. What is the associative property? This one is the word associative. I like to think of who do you associate with at school? Who are your friends? The definition here is changing the grouping of the numbers. And then you are adding or multiplying does not change the sum or the product. Okay, so again, just with multiplying and adding, division and subtraction don't work, but you're changing the grouping. That's the important word there, grouping. Who are your groups of friends? Who do you associate with? That would be helpful, hopefully, to remind you. Here's another reminder. The order does not change. So the order of the numbers stays no matter what. Here are your examples. The order here is 2, 7, 3. And then on the other side, it's 2, 7, 3. The order's not changing, but how you're grouping them is. You went from the group of friends of 2 and 7 to now the group of 7 and 3. So 7 changed friends. Works with adding, also works with multiplying. Again, order doesn't change. 9, 4, 5, 9, 4, 5. But the 9 and 4 are grouped together. They're friends. Now the 4 is grouping with the 5. So that's the associative property. What is the additive identity? Identity, think about that's who you are. Your identity doesn't change. I will always be Miss Younger, and you will always be you. So the definition is when you add a number in 0, the sum equals the original number. So whatever you're starting with isn't changing. It's staying the same. So if your identity, here's your examples, make sure you're getting these down. If your identity is negative 12, you're not changing your identity, okay? How do you do that with adding? You're adding 0. Again, you could flip-flop the order. You could see the 0 first, okay? But your 6 is what you're starting with, and you're ending with 6. That's your identity. It's not changing. What is the multiplicative identity? This one is similar because you're talking about an identity. It's who you are. So who are you when we're multiplying? How are you going to stay who you are? When you multiply a number and 1, okay, the product equals the original number. So any number times 1 is itself. That shouldn't be new information. Here are your examples. My identity is negative 10. How do I stay in negative 10? I multiply by 1. Okay, if my identity is 12, how do I stay 12? I multiply by 1. That's the multiplicative identity. Your turn. Please name the property that is being used. You can use these properties with variables, which is kind of what I'm showing you on number 2 and number 3. Pause the video, turn it back on when you have properly identified. Make sure you're writing down the questions also. All right, answers. In number 1, the order is changing. It went 5, 7, 7, 5. There's a mirror there, which means this is the commutative property. Number 2, here's my identity. I'm staying the same. How did I do that? I multiplied by 1, so I know it's multiplicative. And because I'm staying who I am, that's an identity. Make sure you're starring these if you get them right or circling them if you get them wrong. Number 3, 7 plus A equals A plus 7. This one, the order is changing. So this is also the commutative property. Okay, this is the commutative property of addition, whereas the first one was the commutative property of multiplication. So why do you need to know this stuff? Why are these properties helpful? The big thing is mental math. If you can do this, it's going to save you so much time, and you're not really going to need a calculator when you think you might. For example, 9 times 4 times 5, okay? 9 times 4 is 36, that's mental, but 36 times 5, you're going to probably have to write that down on a piece of paper to figure out the answer. We can use the commutative and associative properties to help us. So what I can do first is actually change the order, because this multiplication, I can flip-flop these around in any way. So I'm going to say 9 times 5 times 4. Okay, that would be the commutative property, and then I'm going to actually do 5 times 4 first. That would be the associative property. 5 times 4 is 20. Now I can take 20 times 9. That's super mental math right there, because I can cover up that 0. 9 times 2 is 18, and then add in that 0. I get an answer of 180 without a calculator. And that's just one example. There's many, many ways that this will help you save time. This is the end of your video. Thanks for watching. If you would like to be entered into a Jolly Rancher drawing, email me your name and hour. Have a wonderful day.